Alright, I'm live. Okay, we're going to do problem number 47. I've got Reinhold helping me with camera work. Reinhold, hey there. Okay, so you're asked to find the absolute maximum and the absolute minimum of this function over this interval. This is a closed interval, hard brackets, closed interval. I find the derivative. This is a product rule. This is this part times this part. So I'm going to take this times the derivative of that. So x times, well, the derivative of e to something is going to be e to that same something, but then I have to take the derivative of the inside. Well, you can think of this as x squared times negative 1/8. So when I bring the 2 out front and multiply that by the negative 1/8, I get negative 1/4 and then x. So that's this times the derivative of this part, then plus this, so I write it again, e minus x squared over 8 times the derivative of that, which is just 1. Okay, so that's the derivative, and I'm going to set this equal to 0. Before I do that, let me just tidy it up a little bit. This x times that negative 1/4 x makes this negative 1/4 x squared, but I'm just going to put that in the numerator. Okay, and then I've got e to this and e to this here, so I can actually just factor that out. And if I do that, I'm going to have this part with the e to the minus x squared on the outside over 8 times this and then plus 1. Alright, now if I'm going pretty fast, just stop and go back to this part and then just see how when you clean this up, you've got this exact same thing in both places, so I can factor it out. When I take this out here, it becomes a 1, and then I've got this part here. Okay, and now I'm going to set this equal to 0. I'm going to ask, when is this equal to 0? Well, this is never going to be 0 because it's an exponent. But this might be 0. So I just bust this part out and I say, well, when is minus x squared over 4 plus 1 equal to 0? When is that going to happen? Well, if I move this over, that's when 1 is equal to positive x squared over 4. Well, this starts getting a lot easier quickly. I multiply both sides by 4, and I get that 4x squared. 4 is equal to x squared, so clearly it's when x is equal to plus or minus 2. That's when I get 0. So those are my potential critical points. I need to evaluate whether or not they're an absolute maximum or an absolute minimum, as well as the endpoints. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to do f of negative 1, you're going to do f of 4, you're going to do f of 2, and f of negative 2. The way I would recommend doing this is just take this equation and type it into your calculator, and then you can go to the trace feature. Make sure you do like Zoom 6 or something so it shows up. And then in the trace feature, plug in negative 1 and hit enter. Plug in 4 and hit enter. Plug in 2 and hit enter. Plug in negative 2 and hit enter. And you'll see where your absolute maximum value is. It's the biggest. Your absolute minimum, it's the smallest. All right? Good luck. Thanks.